You know, sometimes betrayal creeps up on you slowly, and other times it just hits you like a ton of bricks. Today we're going to break down one of those stories, a high school tragedy about a girl named Hannah that all goes down in less than 24 hours. So this is Hannah. She's new in town, she's a good student, and she is just incredibly lonely. And that feeling, that deep sense of being alone, that's the exact vulnerability, the crack in the armor, that the villains of our story are about to pry wide open.
All right, let's set the scene. First, we need to understand the world Hannah has just walked into, Lincoln High School, and all the key players who are about to turn her life upside down.
So Hannah's our main character. She's the type of quiet, smart girl who's always felt more comfortable with a book than with a big, loud group of people. And to make things harder, her family just moved from Boston, so she's trying to figure out a brand new high school completely on her own.
And this is the jungle she's been dropped into. It's, your classic high school food chain. You've got the queen bee, Rachel, the jock, Jackson, and their crew. But I want you to keep an eye on these two over here. Kara, the cheerful one, and Danny, the mysterious loner. They are the wild cards, the ones who are really going to drive the story. It's a world with some serious, unspoken rules, and Hannah has no idea she's about to become a pawn in their game.
But then, something amazing happens. Kara, who is super bubbly and outgoing, does something nobody else has even tried to do. She actually talks to Hannah. And she doesn't just talk, she listens. For a girl who has felt totally invisible her whole life, this is huge. And just like that, a real friendship starts to bloom. And for the first time, Hannah feels like maybe she's not so invisible after all.
So just as Hannah starts to let her guard down, things really start to pick up speed. An invitation comes her way, one that seems like a dream come true. But as we're about to see, it's the beginning of a very clever trap. Kara asks Hannah to a sleepover. Now, for most people, this is no big deal, right? But for a girl who's never, ever had a real friend, this is everything. It feels like she's finally found a place where she belongs.
Of course, she's totally thrilled. But on the walk over to Kara's house, you know that little voice in the back of your head? It starts whispering. The whole thing feels a little too fast, a little too perfect. And one question just keeps playing over and over in her mind.
Right. Why me? Why would Kara, who seems to know all the popular kids, choose her? It's this tiny little red flag, a little hint that maybe this is all just too good to be true.
But once she gets to the sleepover, Kara expertly smooths over every single one of those doubts. And just look at how she does it. It's so calculated. First, she makes Hannah feel really seen by getting into all her boring hobbies. Then, boom, she sets up an Instagram for her, pulling her into the social world. Next, the masterstroke. She creates a common enemy, telling Hannah a secret about how Rachel is a very bad person. And then she seals the deal, promising Hannah that she can be trusted. It is a masterclass in manipulation.
And there it is. That's the line that springs the trap. Kara makes it seem like they're in this little two-person club against the world. She's not just a friend. She's Hannah's best and only friend. At this point, Hannah's trust is absolute, which is going to make what happens next so much more brutal.
Okay, let's jump to the next morning. Because this friendship, this bond that felt so real and was built up so carefully overnight, we're about to watch it all come crashing down in a matter of minutes.
Seriously, look at how fast this happens. It is insane. At 8:05, everything's fine. Hannah's coming back from the restroom. 2 minutes later, Lauren's wallet is missing. By 8:10, Rachel is pointing the finger straight at Hannah. And by 8:13, just 8 minutes after she walked in the door, it's all over. The final nail in the coffin comes from the one person she thought she could count.
This right here is the moment. The absolute peak of the betrayal. Hannah's world is falling apart, and she looks to Kara, her one lifeline, begging for help with her eyes. And what does she get? Nothing. The look Kara gives her is pure hatred. And that silence, it's louder and more damning than any accusation they could have yelled at her. The trap has been sprung.
But getting framed in front of the whole class, that was just phase one. The humiliation now escalates into a plan for actual physical violence. And Hannah is completely, totally alone.
Jackson delivers this threat, and it is absolutely chilling. But notice what he's really doing here. He's not just saying they're going to hurt her. He's making sure she can't tell a teacher, or her parents, or anyone. He's cutting off all our exits. She is completely trapped.
And what happens behind the school is just brutal.
Jackson tells her to strip, and when she says no, he attacks her. He literally pins her to the ground, and in the cruelest move of all, he makes one of Rachel's followers, Grace, film the whole thing.
And this is what's going through her head in that moment. It's just gut-wrenching. She doesn't even feel human anymore. She feels like an animal being hunted. And that's the whole point, right? They've stripped away her dignity, her humanity, and turned her pain into their entertainment. Just when you think it absolutely cannot get any worse, when all hope seems lost, a new player walks onto the scene. And he's about to change the entire game.
It's Danny, the other loner from class. And get this, he doesn't come in swinging. He doesn't even raise his voice. He just calmly walks up to Jackson and Rachel and uses the one weapon they never saw coming, a secret.
So this is a total game changer. Look at the difference here. Jackson's whole crew runs on brute force, fear, and public humiliation. But Danny? He's playing chess, not checkers. He completely neutralizes them by hitting Rachel where she's vulnerable, using information as leverage. He doesn't fight them on their terms. He makes them play by his.
And just like that, it's over. The strategy works perfectly. They delete the video and take off. Danny helps Hannah get up, but even though he rescued her, the damage is done. Yeah, the immediate physical danger is gone, but the trauma, the memory of that betrayal, that's just getting started.
Just one single day. That's all it took for Hannah to experience the absolute joy of finding her first real friend, and the soul-crushing horror of realizing it was all a lie, a setup for a violent attack.
And that's where Hannah's story leaves us. It's just a brutal reminder of how fast your world can be built up and then completely shattered. It really makes you wonder, right? When someone weaponizes your trust like that, how do you even begin to heal? And more importantly, in a world that can be so cruel, where do we find the courage to be the person who steps